This is going to be so exciting. Okay, before I do that, I need to say do not disturb so that I don't get any calls. Okay, boo. We are live. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us. This is my first official podcast, and I gotta say, I am super excited to do this often, at least 2 or 3 times a week. The whole goal of this podcast is to educate and inform buyers and sellers, including fellow agents that's out there in the market, putting themselves out there, really being the professionals they are, and showcasing their level of service. So today we'll be talking about the NAR lawsuit that recently happened. There's a lot to cover. It is exciting times for me. I think this is the best thing that could have happened to the industry. So without further ado, I want to introduce Sabina Moreno. Sabina, tell us about yourself.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Sabina Moreno. Ruben knows me. I'm with Mortgage Solutions LP. I'm an experienced loan officer. I am out of the Conroe area service in the whole state of Texas, and I do residential mortgages. So if you have any questions about getting financed or pre-approved for a property, you can come to me. So I'm very grateful to Ruben because a lot of loan officers, okay, we know what's happening with this NAR lawsuit. We don't know the details, and a lot of us are wanting to know how that's going to affect our relationships with our realtor partners and how that's going to affect our realtor relationships with the buyers and listing, not listing agents, but the clients that are listing their properties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just to give you a quick breakdown of the whole NAR lawsuit, a seller sued the National Association of Realtors because he was asking why is he paying the buyer agent to represent the buyer. So that is how this whole lawsuit came about. And then after about 8, 9 months of this whole lawsuit going back and forth, and I mean, I've been following it on the dot on a daily basis. So after this whole lawsuit, um, the judge ruled a few things. Everything is still under litigation. The Department of Justice still need to comment on this, and it will go in effect about mid-July. So nothing is set in stone, but we are all preparing ourselves. We also want to educate our buyers and sellers and fellow agents and lender partners that does not know really what is happening.
Exactly. Gotcha. Okay, so it's not official yet, but we're just kind of like out there preparing for what may happen.
Yeah.
And we'll just see. Hopefully, it may not happen. I mean, hey, there's still a ruling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, one question, and I'm very grateful to Ruben to answer these questions because everybody's wanting to know. So, I work with a lot of first time home buyers, and I love my first time home buyers because I love to educate you all. And once you know how the process works, you're more comfortable moving forward, okay? And it makes the process a whole lot more, it's a whole lot more seamless. It really is. So a lot of the times, a lot of my first-time home buyers, they have a limited amount of funds, okay? Because they know about the down payment, but they don't know about the extra funds needed to close. So with that being said, how is that going to affect first-time home buyers that have a limited amount of funds to close on their home?
Yeah, absolute great question. Well, since we just started with this lawsuit that is now under litigation, no one really knows what is happening. All FHA buyers and all VA buyers are still navigating through this whole process. But what I think is going to happen is um, you're going to sit down with a buyer and actively listen to what this buyer is wanting. and what are they needing, and where are they going with, what's their goals and dreams becoming homeowners, and how can you as an agent facilitate that while protecting them, while giving them the best interest. What I think is going to happen is, because there's loan limits, there's so much things involved in a real estate transaction that goes on behind the scene. So now it's just another opportunity for us to be more transparent, to be more for upfront about where costs are going, and there's still the concession. So let's talk about the NAR lawsuit a little bit. So what the lawsuit basically ruled, and remember it's under litigation, what it ruled basically is saying that the MLS, the multiple listing service, can no longer display any form of compensation. In other words, where in a traditional brokerage, the the seller had an X amount for commission, the listing agent would then take that X amount and share it with whoever brings a buyer. Well, now it's going to change. So the word commission, let's take that off the table. It's no longer considered a commission. It's called a concession. So your concession that the seller is leaving on the table is for the buyer. The buyer then, because of the agreement he has with the buyer's agent, then gets to decide how is he going to allocate the concession that the seller left on the table. So I wouldn't say it is going to fall away completely. There will still be certain cases where the seller does leave some money on the table, and it's going to depend on things like how quick does the seller want to sell, how motivated is he, what is the seller's goals and dreams moving forward. So all those things will tie in, but I think personally it is the best thing that could happen to real estate, because now we are representing our buyers, which we should have done always. Not the day that you write contract, but from the very first day. Sit down with your client or your buyer prospect, have the conversations with them, build a relationship, show your value proposition, follow up, and tailor the commission structure that is based on the client and not the agent.
Right. And that's comforting, because a lot of our first time home buyers have no idea where to start. Okay. And so they do come to me to teach them the basics. And I will do my best to give them the basics. This is what you need to have. But I'm not a realtor. And I do tell them it is important that you work with a realtor, because you need representation, basically. You need a realtor to help guide you. You're going to have that, property home inspection, the appraisal. There's just so many behind the scene things that no one knows about as a first time home buyer. So you do need a realtor to guide you, other than your loan officer.
Yeah.
I can only do so much.
That's
I can
true.
guide you on the financing part and all that, but you would definitely need representation. So that's good to know, because I deal with a bunch of first time home buyers. So
that commission structure will really be tailored on the buyer, and the reason why I say it will be tailored on the buyer's need and services is because the majority of buyers out there know more what is active on the market and currently happening on the market than most agents. It's just a fact, because they are on that website every morning looking for homes that just been listed.
That is true. I've had my buyers tell me, I told them, I'm very detailed saying, especially with first-time home buyers, I say, your tax rate cannot be no more than this amount, okay? Your your home insurance cannot exceed this amount. And so they're looking on a hard for tax rate. They know their limit, okay? And so it's funny that you know that, or that they tell you that, because yes, first-time home buyers do know that, because the loan officer who's been doing the homework and telling them, look, I know you're excited, but I'm here to tell you, you cannot exceed this amount for taxes and home insurance. And so they do know this property, because they'll send me, I found this home, and this is the tax rate, what's my payment? okay. So so I'll work the numbers
Mm.
out for them. It happens all the time. So
Yeah,
yes, you are correct there. They
it
do
helps.
more. They know more about a lot about the property than
Exactly.
than we
And I
do.
mean, for a long time, I feel like, and this is my personal and professional opinion, for a long time, I feel like buyer agents have been overcompensated,
No.
especially in the sense of here is a buyer that is literally searching for the house, finding that house themselves. So
Mm.
what is the value there?
Oh
What is
wow.
that valued for the agent? Like the time putting in to find that house for the client. And remember, not a lot of brokers have off-market properties, pocket listings, which is not really
Oh,
legal,
okay.
pocket listings, but or incoming soon listings. So your job as an agent is to help find the buyer his perfect house, not just on HOR where they can go on to, also but for sale by owners.
Yes.
Exclusive. So EXP Realty has an option called exclusive. So everything that we do internally goes on exclusives. So when I represent you as a buyer, I look at the open market, nothing to your favor on the open market, I send you my list of exclusives. That is properties that is yet to be listed, coming soon, expire, that's on there that I can showcase. So the value proposition that a buyer agent is going to carry is really going to matter moving forward.
Well, that's interesting. So, okay. I mean, those are really my main questions. I mean, I really appreciate you taking the time to
Absolutely. So,
explain everything.
I mean, I want to end this by, I mean, I said a few times already, I think this is the best thing that happened. Really, I think it's the best thing for many reasons. And now I'm giving my personal perspective on this. I think it's a great thing because it's going to eliminate so many mediocre agents that cannot show their worth or prove their worth. Um, for the longest time, I mean, you've known me for 9 years of me doing real estate. I've always said real estate is about building relationships.
It is.
So when I sit down with that client, I literally listen to everything that they say. I ask them the right questions. I qualify them based on their personal needs. And if they tell me they want to really buy a house, I will do everything in my power to help them become homeowners because I do believe that everyone does deserve the opportunity to become
Yeah.
homeowners.
And you put in like you're available all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, weekends, Saturdays, and Sundays. I mean,
I
we
mean, we're
have
doing
all
this
days.
live on a Saturday. This is our daily, this is just a regular work day for us
Yeah, and
because
I
we,
have to call the client in about 30 minutes.
yeah,
This is my job as a lender, which I'm okay with. I mean, you have to be available to your
yeah.
clients.
And
That makes a
we
difference.
dedicated.
Yeah.
We really dedicated towards them getting to that closing table. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize what's going on behind the scenes. But what I think is going to happen now is agents have to be transparent and include their buyers and sellers on what's happening behind the scenes.
And always be available.
Always.
Like
Like,
the way most agents should be. Like I can call Ruben, I don't care what day, like, hey, your client, guess what? Something came in. We got to change his pre-approval amount got reduced just a little bit, and you know what? He will answer.
yeah,
My call or text, but that's what we do. You have to be available. I mean, because people work 9 to 5 jobs,
yeah,
so they can't really look on hard. They can't really, talk on the phone. Maybe through
they
text
could.
messages, but it's still better to have an actual conversation.
Yeah.
So that's where the weekend comes in, and that's where it gets real. Your client may need a pre-approval letter, right?
Yep, it
Or
has happened at open houses that we did together.
yes, today. Yeah, exactly. We had an open house today, and I pre-approval letter. Okay, so I'm on my laptop, and it's a 24-hour job
Yeah.
basically. But yeah,
And I mean, speaking about open houses, so the whole open house is going to change the way we do business because remember, now before you can actually go show a property,
okay,
you need an agreement with this buyer
okay.
indicating what will he compensate you for your service.
Oh,
So
okay.
now before you even show the property, that thing is in writing. If you're in an open house, remember, we automatically are, everyone out there is a sub agent to the seller. What sub agency mean is basic, and this might change as well now with the whole lawsuit. What sub agency basically means is you are having your best interests towards the seller while aiding the buyer in the transaction. And now that opens another can of worms with this, because you go on a listing presentation or listing appointment where you negotiate with the seller for X amount fee. Well, now it's going to change slightly. It's not going to be commission, it's going to be concession. And remember, the seller will leave a concession available on the table for the buyer. However, if we change the language in this, I will basically ask the seller agent, what is the amount that your seller has left on the table so that my buyer can live up to his contractual agreement that he has with me?
Understood.
So, and this is worth pointing out. Let's say the seller said, okay, I will pay the buyer, not the buyer agent, the buyer, I'll leave a buyer concession of $10,000. Let's say, for argument's sake, that whole $10,000 can be allocated to the buyer agent. The buyer has choice how he wants to use this concession. If the agreement with the buyer and buyer's agent says 5,000, but the seller left a 10,000 concession, you as a buyer agent can only take $5,000. The other 5,000 goes to the buyer for the concession.
So those of you just first-time home buyers, just in case if you're not sure, what is seller's concession? So basically, the seller can have a certain amount on the table to say, hey, look, if I have a buyer come in at full sales price or whatever, usually the listing agent will have this talk with them, right?
Yeah.
And say, hey, look, let's leave a certain amount open for seller's concession. That just basically, in simple language, is basically how much help towards my buyer's closing cost that seller is willing to give my buyers or our buyers, basically, just buyers in general. So just in case y'all wondering what that is, but yeah, that's
so
incredible to know.
Moving forward, I do feel like it's going to change the industry a little bit, just a little bit. I also feel like agents are now going to focus on a niche.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all been in the industry for quite some time, and for the longest time, people said, focus on your niche, focus on your niche. But now you have an agent that literally represents a farm and ranch property, a commercial property, a lease, and a residential. And they're literally just all over the show. Yeah, or even senior or foreclosure or for.
Empty nesters, hey, we have, no.
So what I think is going to happen is a lot of buyers are going to start focusing on what they're really good at and be the experts in that field, not all over the show. So I think we're going to eliminate a lot of agents that don't know how to show their worth, prove their worth. We're going to eliminate a lot of agents that is so conditioned to charge a buyer or seller an X amount percentage. And I just want to clear this up. And once again, this is my personal and professional opinion.
That's why I'm here. I had so many questions.
Yeah.
But you're already answering them. I'm like, okay, well, it's all being answered. So.
They've called this the industry standard. No.
Correct.
It's a trend that has lasted for so long. Oh, wow. Really a trend, because remember, our commission is not regulated by NAR or our broker or anyone out there. We can literally charge whatever we want. The industry standard, industry trend has been 6%. But if you really start looking at stats and data, it's more like 4.8%. So it's really not that high, like 6%. The majority of buyers here is 3%. So I think it's going to change the industry in that as well. I am super excited. I have aligned myself with eXp Realty. eXp Realty is the fastest growing brokerage out there. We lead by sales, we lead by volume. We have technology behind us, we have the exceptional marketing behind us, we have a bunch of people behind us literally is there to support our goals and dreams and make sure our buyers and sellers are protected, guided, they understand this transparency and clarity. Um, because there's big changes coming. I'm excited. I hope y'all are excited. Lenders hopefully are excited.
I'm excited now because every lender was worried, like how was this going to affect the industry just in general? So, Ruben, I appreciate you answering my questions.
Anytime.
He's answered all those questions.
Just went through them.
I know. I was like, I don't have to keep going. I was like, okay, but you know what? Honestly, Ruben is a great agent. He's available 24/7. Very transparent. So if you need his services, you can reach out to him. And EXP, truly, yes, they are a great brokerage. So.
Thank you very much. So before we go, I just want to once again say thank you to Sabina Moreno. She is with Mortgage Solutions. How can people reach you?
Oh, so if you want to call, so I love to be called. Some people love to be emailed or text or to be text. No, I love a phone call. You can call me at 281-948-7800. Even on the weekends. I am that lender. We did an open house. There was a pre-approval needed. I was available.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, if my motto is, if my agents are working on the weekend, well, guess what? I'm working too. So you can call me anytime. Thank you, Ruben.
And as I mentioned, my name is Ruben Yonker. I'm with eXp Realty. I've been licensed for about 9 years. I have a good, solid transaction list behind me. I'm also a certified mentor, helping new agents, teaching them, educating them, eliminating the mediocrity going on, and really living up to a higher level of services. Because long time due that we need to start giving better service, a higher level of service to our buyers and sellers.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Well, my number is 936-689-0848. I'll also place all the links in the bio so that you can go read the lawsuit on yourself and make your own opinion. Call me if you have questions, text me, email me, stalk me, come to my house. I am available, ready to serve.
Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. We love you all. First-time home buyers, empty nesters, whoever, just call us. We're available.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So one of us need to walk there and say, stop.
Okay.